When the HOA sent enforcers to evict my family, they had no idea what kind of woman they were dealing with. They thought they could intimidate us with their fake badges, empty threats, and legal jargon. But they didn't know my wife, Sergeant Amanda Brooksa, retired Green Beret sniper with the patience of a wolf and the precision of a hawk. We had moved into this quiet, suburban neighborhood for peace, not for war. After 15 years of military service, Amanda wanted a place where our kids could ride their bikes without checking for landmines and where the only sound at night was the wind brushing through pine trees. I thought this HOA community would give her that peace. I couldn't have been more wrong. It started small. A letter in our mailbox from the Cedar Ridge Homeowners Association, a notice about the unauthorized color of our fence. The letter was worded politely, but laced with authority. They demanded we repaint within 10 days or face fines. Amanda just laughed. "After everything I've seen overseas," she said, shaking her head, "they're worried about a fence color." I told her to ignore it, thinking it was a one-time thing. But soon came more letters. Then fines. Then a notice about unauthorized military vehicles because Amanda's old Jeep had a camouflage wrap by the 3rd month. They were sending people to our property without warning. HOA inspectors, clipboard warriors snapping pictures, walking around like they owned the place. Amanda's patience was thinning. One morning she caught one of them peering through our backyard gate. She opened the door quietly, stepped onto the porch, and in her calm military tone said, "You have exactly 5 seconds to explain why you're trespassing on my property." The man stammered something about HOA inspection rights. Amanda's icy stare froze in mid-sentence. "Inspection rights end at the property line," she said. "Step back, or I'll call the sheriff." He left, but that incident started a chain reaction. The next day, the HOA president, a smug man named Gerald Finch, showed up at our door. He wore a polo shirt embroidered with the HOA logo and a permanent smirk. "Mr. Brooks," he said, "your wife has been confrontational. We can't have that in Cedar Ridge. Everyone needs to cooperate." Amanda crossed her arms. "Cooperate with what? Illegal trespassing?" Gerald smiled thinly. "Let's not make this difficult. We have rules, and you signed the covenant when you moved in. Failure to comply can result in legal action, even eviction." Amanda took one slow step forward. Her voice dropped an octave. "Eviction? For what? A Jeep and a fence color? You have no idea what difficult looks like, Mr. Finch." He'd left that day, but he didn't leave us alone. 2 weeks later, while I was at work, Amanda called Meekum, but serious. "They're here," she said. "Who's here?" "The HOA enforcers. 3 trucks. They say they're here to enforce the eviction notice." I dropped everything and sped home. When I pulled into the driveway, the scene looked surreal. 3 men wearing black shirts with HOA enforcement printed across their chests. No legal badges, just bravado. One had a body cam strapped to his vest, acting like some kind of officer. Gerald stood behind them, smug as ever. Amanda was on the porch, silent, her arms folded. She didn't yell or argue. She just watched. One of the men barked, "Ma'am, we need you to vacate the property immediately." "This is an authorized HOA action." Amanda raised an eyebrow. "Authorized by who?" "You." "Show me the court order." They hesitated. One of them pulled out a printed document and waved it like a warrant. Amanda took it, scanned it in seconds, then chuckled. "This isn't a court order," she said. "It's a letterhead template." Gerald snapped, "You're resisting HOA enforcement?" Amanda turned her gaze toward him. "You're trespassing. You have 5 seconds to leave before I treat this as a criminal intrusion." I could tell by her stance that she wasn't bluffing. One of the men stepped closer. "Lady, don't make this hard." Amanda's hand twitched toward her phone. She wasn't reaching for a weapon, though I knew she didn't need one. She tapped the screen and started recording. "Everyone smile for the sheriff," she said. Then she walked into the garage. I followed her, whispering, "Amanda, what are you doing?" She pointed at the security monitors. Every camera was active. "Evidence," she said. They crossed the line. Now we let them hang themselves with their own arrogance. Back outside. One of the enforcers tried to open the side gate. Amanda hit a button on her phone, and suddenly, a deep alarm blared from the motion sensors she'd installed, the kind used on military bases. The men froze. "This is private property," Amanda announced through the intercom. "Leave immediately. Law enforcement has been notified." Within minutes, the local sheriff's cruiser rolled up. The HOA enforcers suddenly looked nervous. The sheriff stepped out, adjusted his hat, and asked, "What's going on here?" Gerald started talking fast. "These people are violating HOA regulations," the sheriff cut him off. "That's a civil matter, not a criminal one. You can't evict someone without a court order." Amanda walked up, calm as ever. "Thank you, officer. I appreciate your quick response." The sheriff looked at her, then at the men. "If I see you on this property again without legal authority, I'll charge you with trespassing." Gerald's face turned red. "This isn't over," he muttered. Amanda smiled faintly. "It is for today." When the trucks finally drove off, the silence was golden. Our kids, who had been watching from the window, came running out. Amanda knelt down and hugged them. That night, I found her on the porch, staring at the stars. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded slowly. "You know what the thing about control is," she said. "People like Gerald need to feel powerful, because deep down, they're terrified of people who won't bend." "You think he's done?" Amanda smiled, the kind of smile that told me she had a plan. "No, but I am." The next morning, she started gathering documents, photos, and every notice the HOA had ever sent. She contacted a friend at JAG attorney she'd served with, and within days, she had a legal case ready. When Gerald received the court summons, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. Amanda had filed for harassment, trespassing, and fraudulent enforcement. 3 months later, the HOA stood before a judge. Amanda presented her evidence with military precision dates, videos, recordings, every violation meticulously documented. The judge didn't take long to decide. The HOA was fined heavily. Gerald was removed as president, and the enforcement team was disbanded permanently. After the hearing, Gerald avoided eye contact as we walked past. Amanda paused and said softly, "Next time, pick your battles carefully." Peace returned to Cedar Ridge after that. The new HOA leadership reached out and apologized publicly. They even asked Amanda to help rewrite the community regulations to ensure fairness and prevent abuse of power. She accepted not because she wanted control, but because she believed in accountability. Months later, while sitting on the same porch, Amanda looked out at the sunset and said, "Funny how they tried to evict us, but ended up learning how to live like neighbors." I laughed. "You always did have a way of turning battles into lessons." Not battles. Just reminders never mistake kindness for weakness. Whenever I passed that freshly painted fence, I remember how one woman's calm strength stood against an entire system of arrogance. The HOA thought they were enforcing rules, but what Amanda enforced that day was something far greater respect, and that's what truly keeps a neighborhood safe.